Oh, my goodness gracious, folks. A national writer comes to town and falls in love with the Lions. It's a Monday edition of Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network. We played it on a Monday, everybody, July 18th and a Tuesday, July 19th. Welcome in. Thanks for listening, watching, and participating here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Matt Dery with you. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day as we talk Detroit Lions football. Lots of excitement around a Monday show today. Football Morning in America, Peter King wrote a piece today at Pro Football Talk. Oh, my goodness gracious, and NBC Sports. We've read a lot of national love for the Lions, but this one takes the cake. We'll give you some of the highlights coming up momentarily, and we continue our list of the top 5 players that we think could be first-time Pro Bowlers for the Lions. We are down to number 2 on the list, counting them back from 5 to 1. We'll get to that today as well, right here on Locked On Lions, and a different list that I want to tease for tomorrow where a Lions player is involved. We'll get to that momentarily on the show as well. Locked On Lions today brought to you by our good friends at BetOnline. Today's episode brought to you by BetOnline because they got you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Follow us on Twitter at Dery Speaks, D-E-R-Y Speaks, at Locked On Lions on Twitter. Also the Matt Dery Facebook fan page and on YouTube. I think we're close to 1,000 subscribers. Last I looked, we were at 994. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers on the Locked On Lions YouTube page. You can watch the show and listen to the show each and every day. And we appreciate your listenership, viewership, and whatever it is. Folks, we're getting close to training camp. We are less than 2 weeks away. I believe it is July the 30th. Saturday, July the 30th, that the team will open up training camp in Allen Park the Saturday, so less than 2 weeks away. It's very exciting. And boy, oh boy, the Lions held a mini camp back in May. And Peter King from Pro Football Talk and NBC Sports, who writes his Football Morning in America piece, wrote his a piece today, and you can find it at profootballtalk.nbcsports.com. It's entitled, Do the Hungry Lions Have the Horses to Rich Strike Their Way to a 500 Record in 2022? Let me say a few things first before I give you some of the highlights. Number one, Rich Strike, of course, was the Kentucky Derby winner that was in 16th place with 3/4 of the race to go. Snuck up at the end, was 100 to 1 or whatever. It was a long shot underdog that won the Kentucky Derby. And Dan Campbell is quoted in the piece as basically saying, we're hoping to be the Rich Strike of the NFL this year. And again, the headline, 500 record in 2022. And we've had this discussion on the show before, and we've discussed whether or not we think the Lions can be a 500 team. Remember, the Detroit Lions 1 year ago finished 3-13-1. No, this isn't a red Solo cup. Let's have a party. This is water for those of you watching. To get to 8 wins, that would be a 5-win improvement from a year ago. To finish, let's say, 8-9, or you can't really have a 500 record with 17 games. So regardless, getting to 8 wins, I guess, because they're now playing 17 games. So the headline is a little bit misleading. 500 record, would be obviously 9, above 500 or below 500. There cannot be 500. Regardless, 8 wins is sort of this theme for this article. And Peter King came to a May minicamp and discussed everything that he saw down at 222 Rodwood Drive there in Allen Park, including 50 some odd players coming off the field from practice, greeting GM Brad Holmes with hugs, embraces, fist bumps, all of these things, stopping to talk to Brad Holmes. And it highlighted how much there is a general affection for the general manager of the team. Now, again, Brad Holmes is an African-American GM. He's a young guy. He seems like a good man. And I think the players, many of them being African-American, do like him a lot and do tend to see a former player and a fellow African-American person in that position of power. And I think it does help. If you recall many years ago, Jeremy Grant, when he was signing with the Pistons, said one of the reasons why he really wanted to join the franchise was he saw a black GM in Troy Weaver and a black head coach in Dwayne Casey and felt comfortable being around them. So that's a positive for sure when you're talking about building a team. But as King points out in his article, the team has won one playoff game in the last 60 years. And if you want to go back to 1958, when the year removed from the championship, it really has been 64 years or 63 years. Regardless, it has not been a good run for your Lions. I don't need to go through the history here. But Dan Campbell says the momentum of last year, the end of the season, where the team finished 3-3 after December 1st, quote from Campbell to Peter King, we kind of feel like we may be Rich Strike here. Of course, the Kentucky Derby winner. He was 16th with 33 seconds left in the race. One of the most inspiring things I've seen in a long time. It was impressive. It was beautiful, Campbell says. Now, this one totally floored me today. Quote, I just think I've got guys like Rich Strike. Every time we hear the SOL, same old Lions, and all that stuff, I think it fuels our fire. We love it. I think that's how we all feel. That's how we all talk. That's how we all think. There's nothing fake about it, end quote. Folks, on July 18th, 2022, 2 years into his reign as head coach, Dan Campbell has just dropped an SOL. Dan Campbell said SOL. Wow. You've got the coach and the players who a lot of times say, we don't listen to the outside noise, basically admitting we hear the outside noise, we acknowledge it, and it fuels our fire. So I don't know if this team can be Rich Strike because Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby. They won something. The horse won something. The Lions would have to make the playoffs or win the NFC North to be Rich Strike. I've said it and I'll continue to say it. I think the Lions are going to finish in third place this year. I think they're going to finish ahead of the Chicago Bears. I think the Bears are a dumpster fire. I like what I'm seeing from the Lions in terms of how they're building. I think Chicago is in big trouble. Minnesota Vikings, if you read anything over the weekend, Ben Lieber, the color commentator on the Vikings radio network, basically, and former Viking, basically admitted on a radio show that, or a podcast, that Mike Zimmer, the previous coach, did not like Kirk Cousins and wouldn't let Cousins basically have ownership of the team or run the offense or anything. And now Lieber feels that with Cousins having some free reign under Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson basically coming out and saying, I'm the best receiver in the NFL, that Minnesota is going to be primed to be much better than they were a year ago, have a good offense with Dalvin Cook, and the defense can't be any worse than it was last year. Minnesota was really bad and really banged up. But now guys like Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith, Danielle Hunter are healthy and back playing for the Vikings. So I don't know if the Lions are in Minnesota's class just yet. I've always liked the Vikings' talent. Let's see how a rookie coach and a rookie GM do. But it's very interesting to hear the Lions talking about trying to be Rich Strike. All right? I want to get more in depth into this coming up next. What about Bet Online, your number one source for all your betting needs and sports information? Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including Major League Baseball, the All-Star Game this week, Home Run Derby. You want to bet on all that. Get all the information at betonline.ag. BetOnline.net. They are your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. They really are a great site. Whatever you need, odds, baseball stuff, WNBA, MMA, boxing, and golf, you can get it at betonline.net. Go to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so we are reviewing this article today of Peter King basically lathering in the Lions' butter, that they're hungry and shooting towards 500. And again, that would be a 5-win or 6-win increase from last year, where they finished 3-13-1. To be above 500, they'd have to go 9-8 in order to do that, of course, in 17 games. Something else interesting to ponder as the Lions are talking about everything that they did last year very well. It's written in the article about buy-in. Jared Goff told Peter King, quote, "People outside the building can't see it, obviously, but we have a plan and we're all in. People see some of what Dan says, and that's great, but I can tell you, Dan knows what the hell he's talking about, and he's got the respect of that room. 2021 won't be in vain, I promise you that," Campbell told him after a spring practice today. So we can talk about buy-in, we can talk about culture all we want, but again, guys have to perform. Jared Goff can say, hey, everybody's bought in. We're together. And that's great. And that is a lot of the situation here. We just mentioned Minnesota before and how Zimmer kind of lost the team a year ago. We've seen other franchises that spiral out of control because there's not that togetherness. But the bottom line is this team still needs an influx of talent. There's not enough talent on the defensive side of the ball. There's a question mark how much talent there is offensively, especially in that wide receiver room. And quite honestly, at quarterback. Is Jared Goff good enough to win 9 games with this team? Is he going to be the Jared Goff of the first half last year or the Jared Goff of the last 6 games that went 3-3? And all of those things. Now, one thing that was brought up in this piece was the love affair that Brad Holmes had with Jameson Williams and how much he wanted to draft Williams after watching tons of video from him in the offseason. What I found interesting was when they were talking about Goff's efficiency, they said, quote, in the piece from Peter King, "I expect the Lions to emphasize short and intermediate accuracy in the Ben Johnson offense because that's where Goff is efficient. That could change when the game-breaking Williams comes back." And then in parentheses, there's no projection right now, but post-Thanksgiving is a safe bet. That would suck. Post-game Thanksgiving, you're talking 5 games, 4 or 5 games. Coming back from a torn ACL, I know that Jameson said he wanted to be ready for training camp. The Lions said it's not happening. So we've gone from he wants to be ready at the start of training camp to the Lions saying he's not going to be ready for training camp to now Peter King saying the safe bet is post-Thanksgiving. That would leave the receiving room to basically be DJ Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and plenty of question marks. And if there's an injury there, there's not a lot of depth in that room. That would then mean more, I think, obviously, emphasis on the run game, TJ Hawkinson, etc. Jameson Williams, to me, is a game changer. And thank goodness they're talking in the article about a clean ACL tear and everything else. But if they can get him back mid-season, I really think this takes the offense to a whole new level. Post-Thanksgiving really hurts for this year. Now, I get why Holmes drafted him, loved him, wanted him for the future, called him a game changer, everything else. But this team needs that game breaker, and that's what Jameson Williams is. And so to read that he might not be ready till after Thanksgiving just sucks, you know? And I know you almost wish he had torn that ACL in the regular season in November and not January 10th in the national championship game. It turned out with or without Williams, Georgia was the better team that day. But you look at the timetable, they want to not take a risk. They want to be safe with him. But post-Thanksgiving sucks because I really want to see – I'm so excited to see Jameson Williams play. That's the guy that I think could really turn this entire offense around. But what a piece by Peter King. I'm sure many of you Lions fans just absolutely love this and can't believe that they're talking about your team in such a glowing way as King comes back to write his first column, getting ready for training camp, and he talks all about the Lions. So check it out at profootballtalk.nbcsports.com. All right, coming up next, number 2 on our list of possible first-time Pro Bowlers. First, though, you got to level with me. If you're living paycheck to paycheck or struggling to make ends meet, it can be really stressful when unexpected expenses come up. Something in the house, something with your car. But Dave can help you get out of a pinch when you really need it. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill up your tank, buy a wedding gift, or catch up on bills. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out with any hangups. There's no interest, no credit check needed. Millions of people have already downloaded Dave, the Dave app, to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch and need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from future you. Here's what I need you to do. Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. Future you will thank you. All right, so a Monday edition of Locked On Lions. We are down to number 2 on our list of the top 5 players that could be first-time Pro Bowlers for the Lions. We do this list every summer. This excludes players that have made it before, like Frank Ragnow, Jack Fox, TJ Hawkinson, Jonah Jackson, who made it last year, and Jared Goff, who, of course, was a Pro Bowler with the Rams. Number 5 on our list was Romeo Okwara. We counted down to number 4, Taylor Decker. Number 3, Amani Oruwariye. And at number 2 today, who could be that first-time Pro Bowler this year for Detroit? None other than Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god and wide receiver, entering year 2. Why St. Brown? It's pretty simple. Last year, he broke all these rookie receiving records for Detroit. This is records held by guys like Calvin Johnson, Herman Moore. Last year, as a rookie, think about this, in a bad offense, St. Brown finished with 90 receptions for 912 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Also had 61 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. He was the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Month in December, where he caught 35 balls for 340 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, and he broke all of these rookie records. Most catches, most receiving yards, and, of course, had the game-winning touchdown as time expired in the Lions' first win, snapping their 15-game losing streak in Week 13 against Minnesota. I've said it that I think it's going to be very difficult for St. Brown to have the kind of year that he had last year, this year, because, number one, sophomore, I'm not saying sophomore jinx, but it's very difficult. Teams will start game planning for Amon-Ra. He's really good. He is. He's smart, great route runner. You can put him outside. You can put him inside. I'm excited to see when they have all their bullets in the chamber, and they've got Chark on one side, Williams on the other side, and St. Brown in the slot in motion, and they're able to utilize him anywhere. They put him in motion and screened him out. They handed him the football. He found creases in the defense. There were defenses that were tuned into St. Brown at the end of the year when basically Hawkinson was hurt. You had Josh Reynolds and St. Brown, and just a bunch of scrubs at receiver. And yet Amon-Ra kept performing and put double-digit catches, and his second half was immense for this football team. Hard worker, obviously his brother plays in the league, so there's that blood there. And this is a guy that I think could be special. And what a draft pick last year in the mid-rounds by Brad Holmes to come in and have a 90-catch season. Got to stay healthy. Not Not sure he can put up those kind of numbers, but if he does, he could be in the Pro Bowl conversation. Why not put him there? You look at the elite players that the Lions have, and it's not many. You look at the players that are ranked at positions. St. Brown has come up as one of the higher end receivers now. Now, he's not in that Justin Jefferson class or Debo or anybody like that, but he's starting to get into the conversation based off a tremendous rookie year. And what if he caught 100 balls this year? What if he got better? And what if this offense really took off? So I put Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 2, on my list of possible first-time Lions Pro Bowlers. And tomorrow we'll talk about number 1 on that list, and also a Lions player has made a NFL top 50 list of most valuable players from our friends at Bet Online. And we'll tell you about that and which Lion made it tomorrow here on the show. Thanks for making us your first listen. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do so. We're back again tomorrow right here on Locked On Lions.